What if I told you that one of the most powerful muscle cars of its time didn't come from Chevy or Dodge, but from Buick? Yeah, the same Buick known for Grandma's sedan once built a beast that could outrun a Chevelle SS. It had 455 cubic inches of raw power, loads of torque, and a price tag that made it way cheaper than most of its rivals. So why did it flop? Why don't we hear about it today, when people are drooling over Chargers, Mustangs, and Camaros? This car had the numbers, the look, and the street cred, yet it never caught on like the others. Was it bad marketing, wrong timing, or was it just too misunderstood? Let's dig into the story of Buick's muscle car gamble and how it almost worked. If you like underdog stories, forgotten classics, and wild automotive what-ifs, then this one's for you. Because today, we're answering a question that still puzzles gearheads. Why did Buick's affordable muscle car flop? Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're shining a light on a car that deserves way more attention than it gets. We're talking about the Buick GS 455, an American muscle car that should have been a superstar. It was powerful, fast, and surprisingly affordable for what it offered. Yet somehow, it faded into the background while other muscle cars became legends. This video is all about uncovering the truth behind that failure. We'll talk specs, sales, marketing, and even public perception. We'll ask the questions most people ignore and answer them with real facts and historical context. So if you're into classic cars, muscle car history, or just love good car stories, you're in the right place. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's jump into this hidden piece of automotive history. Let's find out what really went wrong with Buick's muscle car. Meet the GS 455. Let's start by getting to know the car itself. The Buick GS 455. GS stood for Grand Sport, and the 455 referred to its massive 455 cubic inch V8 in its Stage 1 trim. This engine produced 360 horsepower and a whopping 510 lb-ft of torque. That's right, it had more torque than a Hemi. On paper, this thing was a monster. It could go 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds and beat many more famous rivals in a drag race. It came with a clean, elegant body, not flashy, but definitely muscular. And Buick even marketed it as a luxury performance combo, aimed at a more mature driver. It wasn't cheap, but compared to what you were getting, it was a bargain. So why didn't more people buy it? Well, the problems start when you look beyond the numbers. Buick's image problem. Here's the thing. Buick had a branding problem. In the 1960s and early 70s, Buick was seen as an upscale, conservative brand. People associated it with doctors, lawyers, and older drivers, not street racing punks. So when they rolled out a muscle car, a lot of folks just didn't take it seriously. Even though the GS 455 could dust a GTO, people weren't shopping at Buick dealerships for speed. That perception was hard to shake. Buick tried to balance performance and luxury, but in doing so, they didn't fully commit to either. It wasn't loud and wild like a Dodge. It wasn't raw and aggressive like a Mustang. It was refined, smooth, maybe a little too smooth. And that's where the disconnect began. The muscle car scene was fiercely competitive. Every major brand had a hero car. Dodge had the Charger, Chevy had the Chevelle and Camaro, Ford had the Mustang and Torino. Even Pontiac had the GTO, which was often seen as the OG muscle machine. In this crowded battlefield, standing out was tough, especially if you didn't shout the loudest. Buick's GS was strong, sure, but it didn't have the attitude that muscle car buyers wanted. It didn't scream rebel or bad boy the way a Mopar did. Instead, it whispered respectable power, and that just didn't hit the same way. When kids were picking posters for their walls, they chose Chargers, not Grand Sports. It wasn't that the Buick was worse, it just wasn't as cool. One big reason for the flop: Buick didn't know how to market the GS 455 properly. They were caught between two identities, muscle car and luxury cruiser. Some ads focused on the power, others on comfort, and many missed the mark entirely. There wasn't a consistent message to fire people up. Compare that to Dodge's Scat Pack or Chevy's bold SS branding. It was clear what those cars were about. Buick's mixed messaging left people confused. Who was the GS 455 really for? Was it for muscle car fans or executives who wanted a little more kick? That ambiguity hurt its chances with both groups. In a market driven by emotion and image, Buick stayed too logical, and that was a huge misstep. Another issue came from outside Buick's control: the early 70s crackdown on performance cars. Insurance rates for muscle cars skyrocketed. Suddenly, owning a 455 cubic inch beast came with massive costs. especially for younger buyers. At the same time, emissions regulations and fuel economy concerns were creeping in. 1971 was the last year before compression ratios dropped and horsepower started to fade. The GS 455 was a victim of bad timing. Just as it hit its peak, the industry was shifting away from high-power V8s. The oil crisis was just around the corner, and people started thinking more about MPG than RPM. Even if you loved the GS 455, buying one became harder to justify. But here's the thing, true car fans know how good this car was. Especially in the Stage 1 package, it was a straight-up sleeper. It didn't look wild, but it could dust a Hemi off the line. It had forged internals, a high-performance cam, and rock-solid torque. Quarter-mile times were in the low 13ths, which was blazing fast back then. Even Car and Driver and Motor Trend praised its performance. It just never got the hype it deserved. Some people say that's what made it cooler. If you knew, you knew. It became a cult favorite among drag racers and Buick loyalists. But for the mainstream, it was still under the radar. And that meant low sales and even lower long-term recognition. After 1972, the writing was on the wall. Buick kept the GS name, but the performance slowly faded. By the mid-70s, the big engines were gone or neutered by emissions rules. The GS became more of a trim package than a real performance machine. And as the muscle car era ended, so did Buick's time in the spotlight. They went back to making comfortable, quiet cruisers and largely stayed away from real performance. It wouldn't be until the 1980s Grand National that Buick performance returned. That car, turbocharged and blacked out, would finally earn the respect the GS never quite got. But for many, the GS 455 remained an underappreciated legend, a car that could have been king if the world had been just a little different. And maybe if Buick had shouted louder. Let's break it down. The GS 455 didn't flop because it was bad. It flopped because of branding, timing, and miscommunication. It came from a brand people didn't associate with muscle. It entered a market filled with louder, flashier, and more rebellious cars. And it landed just as the muscle car era was about to hit a wall. Buick didn't market it aggressively enough, and buyers didn't know what to make of it. It was a great car, but in the wrong clothes, at the wrong party, at the wrong time. The GS 455 was a muscle car trapped in a luxury car suit. And while that made it special, it also made it misunderstood. It deserved more, but history doesn't always reward the quiet ones. Sometimes, being the best just isn't enough. So now you know why Buick's affordable muscle car didn't take over the world. But maybe that's what makes it so fascinating. It's a reminder that great cars aren't always the ones we remember, and that marketing, timing, and perception matter just as much as horsepower. The Buick GS 455 was a muscle car with manners, and maybe that was its greatest strength and weakness. Today, it's a rare gem for collectors who appreciate its quiet power. And in a world full of loud legends, it stands as a classy alternative. If you ever see one at a car show, stop and take a good look. You're looking at a piece of forgotten greatness. Let us know in the comments. Had you heard of the GS 455 before this video? Drop a like if you enjoy uncovering underrated classics. And subscribe for more deep dives into car history. Thanks for watching. And remember, sometimes the underdog tells the best story.